Listen to me, you can't afford to live one more day with laziness sitting on your chest like dead. You've got dreams that require discipline. You've got goals that demand sacrifice. Laziness is not just a habit, it's an enemy. It's stealing your time, your progress, your greatness. And if you don't kill it, it will kill your future. Some of you keep saying, tomorrow I'll start, tomorrow I'll work, tomorrow I'll change. But listen to me. Tomorrow was the biggest lie laziness ever told you. You weren't born to be average. You weren't designed to be slow, tired, or uncommitted. Deep inside you, there's a version of you that's unstoppable, but you can't meet that version until you stop letting laziness win. You gotta fight it. You gotta choke it out. You gotta wake up every single morning with a mindset that says, I will not let laziness control me another day. I'm not telling you it's going to be easy. I'm telling you it's necessary. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is freedom. Hard work is not suffering. Hard work is your ticket to the life you want. When you show up, when you put in the reps, when you make sacrifices, you're not hurting yourself. You're investing in yourself. Laziness will always whisper, rest, chill, relax, you deserve it. But listen to me, you don't deserve reward before you put in the work. You don't deserve comfort before you've earned progress. Stop giving yourself permission to be lazy. Stop negotiating with your weaknesses. Stop making excuses for things that need action. Some of you are losing because you're comfortable. Comfort is the enemy of growth. Comfort is where dreams go to die. You've got to wake up hungry. You've got to wake up with fire. You've got to wake up and say, today I kill laziness. Today I kill excuses. Today I kill everything that stops me from being great. You want success, kill laziness. You want better health, kill laziness. You want money, opportunities, progress, greatness, kill laziness. The world doesn't reward potential, it rewards results, and results come from discipline. You have to decide right now that you will no longer be a slave to laziness. Break free, break out, grind, push, move, take action. Because the moment you kill laziness, that's the moment you start living like a champion. When I tell you to stop negotiating with yourself, I'm not giving you a light suggestion. I'm giving you the foundation of discipline, core of success, the heartbeat of transformation. Listen to me. Every single day before you fight the world, before you fight your circumstances, before you fight your failures, you are fighting yourself. And most people lose that battle before the day even begins. They lose it the moment their alarm rings. They lose it the moment they feel discomfort. They lose it the moment laziness whispers a softer option. You don't lose because you lack talent. You don't lose because you lack opportunity. You lose because you negotiate with your weakness. You sit there arguing with the part of you that doesn't want to grow, doesn't want to work, doesn't want to sacrifice, and you let that part of you win. You wake up, the alarm hits, and instead of standing up, you start a conversation with the enemy inside. 5 more minutes. I'll start in a bit. I'm tired today. I'll work later. You don't even realize that those small, innocent-sounding thoughts are the very chains tying you to mediocrity. They are the handcuffs keeping you from your greatness. Every time you agree to those excuses, every time you give in to that voice, you reinforce laziness and weaken discipline. You make the enemy stronger. You teach it that you are someone who can be convinced, someone who can be manipulated, someone who can be delayed. That's why nothing changes. That's why you go in circles. That's why you feel stuck, even though you have dreams burning inside you. You've been negotiating with the part of you that wants to remain the same. You can't kill laziness until you stop entertaining conversations with it. You can't rise if you keep giving the lower version of yourself a microphone. Stop giving your weaknesses a seat at the table. Stop giving your fears voting rights. Stop giving your doubts authority. Do you understand? There is a version of you that you were created to be. Disciplined, driven, relentless, unstoppable. But you will never meet that version if the lazy version keeps winning debates every morning. You cannot talk your way into excellence. You must act your way into it. Every time you negotiate, you delay action. And the longer you delay, the more momentum you lose. Some of you don't even realize that the greatest danger is not external failure. It's internal hesitation. The brain is wired for comfort, not greatness. It will always try to pull you back to safety, It will always whisper reasons to relax, excuses to postpone, lies to justify inactivity. That's why you can't negotiate with yourself. If you do, you will almost always choose the path of least resistance. And the path of least resistance never leads to greatness. It never leads to excellence. It never leads to transformation. It only leads to regret. Because laziness feels good in the moment but costs you everything in the long run. You think champions wake up excited every day? No, they wake up with resistance too. They wake up with reasons not to get up, with discomfort, with fatigue, with doubt. But here is the difference. They don't negotiate. They made a decision long before the alarm rang. The decision is final, non-negotiable. They don't open their day with debates. They open it with discipline. They don't wait for motivation. They execute because the standard requires it. Discipline is the agreement you make with yourself that you will not change your mind based on how you feel. You set the standard, you honor the standard, you protect the standard. When you do that, laziness has no chance. Every time you decide without negotiation, you build a stronger identity. You teach yourself that you are someone who does what you say. You teach yourself that you don't run from discomfort. You teach yourself that your goals matter more than temporary feelings. And slowly, that identity becomes your default mode. The more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. Momentum grows, confidence grows, belief grows. Your mindset transforms because you're no longer relying on motivation. You're relying on commitment. You're not listening to your feelings. You're listening to your purpose. But listen to me. This transformation begins in the smallest moments. It's the moment when you wake up and decide to rise even when you don't feel like it. It's the moment you decide to work when you're tired. It's the moment you choose progress over comfort. Those small decisions stack into massive change. Stop thinking greatness is built in big moments. Greatness is built in the tiny battles you fight daily, especially the ones nobody sees. The world sees the success, but they don't see the mornings you force yourself out of bed with no negotiation. They don't see the nights you worked when everyone else relaxed. They don't see the sacrifices you made. But that's where discipline is forged. That's where laziness dies, not in public, but in private. There is a part of you that knows what you need to do. It knows what habits you must break. It knows what habits you must break. It knows what routines you must adopt. It knows the work required. The problem is not ignorance. The problem is negotiation. You keep letting your comfort talk you out of your calling. You let temporary emotions override long-term purpose. You let convenience overshadow consistency. And then you wonder why your results don't reflect your potential. You can't get champion results with a negotiating mindset. Champions don't bargain with their responsibilities. They honor them. Think about the areas where you keep losing. Think about the habits that keep you stuck. Think about the goals you've been delaying for months or years. In every one of those areas, if you look closely, you'll see a negotiation happening. You'll notice a moment where you said, it's okay if I skip today, or I'll do it later, or I'll start next week. And every one of those small decisions robbed you of momentum. That's why you're tired. That's why you're discouraged. That's why you feel overwhelmed, because you're constantly restarting. Every time you negotiate, you take a step back. Every time you decide without negotiation, you take a step forward. You must retrain your mind. You must reprogram your reaction. When the thought of delaying something comes up, don't allow it. When excuses rise, shut them down immediately. Don't give them oxygen. The moment you give excuses a few seconds of thought, they grow stronger. Cut them off instantly. Cut them off instant with action. Action is the antidote to excuses. Movement is the medicine for laziness. You want to kill laziness? Move before your mind has time to argue. When you stop negotiating, you take control of your time. Time is the most valuable resource you have. Once it's gone, it's gone, it's gone forever. Laziness steals time quietly. It doesn't rob you suddenly. It drains you slowly. It takes 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, one skipped task, one delayed moment, one postponed action. Before you know it, weeks pass, months pass, years pass, and nothing changes. You're still dreaming of the same goals, still talking about the same plan, still hoping for the same breakthrough. But breakthroughs come to those who move, not those who negotiate. You have to develop the courage to make decisions without waiting for your feelings to agree. You might not feel ready. Do it anyway. You might not feel energized. Do it anyway. You might not feel confident. Do it anyway. Your feelings are temporary. Your goals are permanent. Never let temporary feelings destroy permanent possibilities. The moment you act, confidence appears. The moment you move, motivation wakes up. Motivation doesn't come before action. Motivation comes because of action. You must also understand that self-negotiation is the first step towards self-sabotage. When you allow yourself to bargain your way out of discipline, you teach yourself that you can be talked out of your greatness. You build a weak internal environment. You become someone who cannot trust themselves. When your words and actions never match, your identity becomes shaky. But when your words and actions align, you become powerful beyond measure. You have to reach a point in your life where your decisions are final. No more back and forth. No more ifs and buts. No more compromising your standards. When you say you'll wake up early, do it. When you say you'll work out, do it. When you say you'll study, do it. When you say you'll grind, do it. Let your discipline be louder than your doubts. Let your actions be louder than your excuses. Every time you follow through, you weaken laziness. Every time you hesitate, you strengthen it. Stop negotiating with yourself because your future deserves better. Your family deserves better. Your dreams deserve better. Your purpose deserves better. Comfort is cheap. Growth is expensive. But the cost of growth pays you for life. The cost of laziness charges you for life. You choose which one you want to invest in. You choose which one wins in your mind every day. You can either negotiate your way into regret, or you can discipline your way into greatness. The choice is yours. Every single morning, stop negotiating. Stand up, show up, move with purpose. That's how you kill laziness and unlock the strongest version of yourself. When I tell you to replace convenience with commitment, I'm telling you to make one of the most difficult but life-changing shifts you will ever make. Convenience is seductive. Convenience is comfortable. Convenience is easy, smooth, predictable, and safe. But it is exactly that comfort that traps you in cycles of laziness and mediocrity. You don't grow when everything is easy. You don't evolve when everything is comfortable. You don't transform when everything is convenient. Convenience is the soft pillow that puts your dreams to sleep. Commitment is the alarm clock that wakes them back up. And if you want to rise, if you want to change, if you want to kill laziness, you must stop choosing convenience and start choosing commitment every single day. Convenience is what makes you quit early. Convenience is what makes you look for shortcuts. Convenience is what makes you skip days, make excuses, delay tasks, and postpone growth. Convenience tells you you don't have to do it right now, just do it later. Convenience says, don't push yourself. Stay where it's easy. Convenience whispers, take the shortcut, no need for struggle. And before you know it, convenience becomes a lifestyle. A lifestyle where progress is optional, discipline is rare, and greatness is impossible. Commitment, on the other hand, is the very opposite. Commitment doesn't care if you're tired. Commitment doesn't care if you're not in the mood. Commitment doesn't ask you how you feel. It demands action. It demands consistency. It demands sacrifice. Commitment makes you show up even when every part of you wants to stay comfortable. Commitment pushes you into the places you avoid. The difficult, the uncomfortable, the challenging, the demanding. Because commitment knows something convenience doesn't. Convenience gives you short-term pleasure, but commitment gives you long-term greatness. Every dream you have requires commitment. Every goal you say you want requires commitment. Every transformation you desire requires commitment. Nothing real is built on convenience. Nothing legendary is created in the comfort zone. Comfort breeds complacency. Commitment breeds excellence. And laziness dies the moment commitment becomes your default mode. Think about your life right now. Think about the habits you struggle with. Think about the goals you keep putting off. Think about the routines you can't stick to. If you look closely, you'll realize something. The problem isn't capability. The problem isn't intelligence. The problem isn't opportunity. The problem is that you keep choosing convenience over commitment. You keep choosing what's easy instead of what's required. You keep choosing what feels good now instead of what will feel great later. And you want to know the truth. As long as convenience is your priority, laziness will always win. Convenience feeds laziness. Commitment destroys it. When you replace convenience with commitment, everything changes. And it starts with a simple but powerful understanding that commitment is a decision, not a mood. You don't wait to feel committed. You decide to be committed. You don't wait to feel disciplined. You decide to be disciplined. Convenience is driven by feeling. Commitment is driven by purpose. The moment you choose purpose over feelings, you elevate your entire life. Convenience is emotional. Commitment is intentional. Convenience lets your impulses control your actions. Commitment lets your purpose control your actions. Convenience says, I don't feel like it today. Commitment says, my purpose matters too much for me to skip. Convenience said, I'm tired. Commitment says, I'm tired, but I'll still show up. Convenience says, I'll start when things get easier. Commitment says, I'll start now and push through the challenges. See the difference? One keeps you stagnant. The other takes you forward. There will always be distractions tempting you to choose convenience. There will always be temptations pulling you to the easy path. But the easy path is crowded with people who never fulfilled their potential. The easy path is full of people who gave up, people surrendered to laziness, people who settled for less. The easy path leads nowhere. The committed path is harder, but it's the only path that leads to greatness. Think about anyone you admire. An athlete, a business leader, a creator, a speaker, a champion of any kind. They didn't get where they are by choosing convenience. They didn't rise by taking the easy way. They didn't achieve excellence by doing what was comfortable. They chose commitment when convenience looked tempting. They chose discipline when excuses sounded good. They chose consistency when inconsistency was easier. They chose sacrifice when comfort called their name. And because they chose commitment, earned greatness. Every time you choose commitment, you build character. You build resilience. You build mental strength. You build habits that reinforce your future. But every time you choose convenience, you weaken discipline. You reinforce laziness. You strengthen the part of yourself that doesn't want to grow. You give power to the version of you that complains, avoids, resists, and escapes responsibility. You don't want that version running your life. Replacing convenience with commitment means rewriting your internal script. It means telling yourself, I do what needs to be done, not what is easy. It means waking up and following through regardless of mood. It means sacrificing comfort to build a future you're proud of. It means choosing long-term reward over short-term relief. And you must do this daily, not occasionally. Laziness doesn't die with one big decision. It dies with hundreds of small, consistent decisions stacked on top of each other. Commitment is not glamorous at first. In the beginning, it's uncomfortable, it's annoying, it's demanding, it stretches you, it challenges you, it feels heavy. But the more you commit, the more natural it becomes. The more consistent you are, the more your life begins to shift. You start building momentum. You start building confidence. You start seeing small wins, and those small wins stack into big wins. Eventually, the discomfort becomes normal, and convenience feels like the true enemy. When you reach that point, you change your internal wiring. But let me tell you something important. Commitment is tested most when convenience feels the strongest. Easy to be committed on a good day. It's easy to be consistent when you're energized. It's easy to show up when everything is going well. The real test is when you're tired, when you're stressed, when you're frustrated, when you're doubting yourself, when everything in your life is trying to pull you back into the comfort zone. That's when true commitment is proven. Commitment is not what you do when it's easy. It's what you do when it's hard. That's when laziness tries hardest to take control. And that's the exact moment you must push through without hesitation. Commitment requires sacrifice. You may have to sacrifice sleep. You may have to sacrifice comfort. You may have to sacrifice entertainment. You may have to sacrifice toxic habits, unproductive routines, or even unmotivated people. But listen to me. Every sacrifice you make for commitment pays you back later. Every comfort you surrender becomes a stepping stone to your goals. Every difficult decision strengthens you. Every disciplined moment shapes your identity. You become someone who follows through, someone who keeps their promises, someone who does not bow to laziness or convenience. Convenience makes you fragile. Commitment makes you powerful. Convenience makes you reactive. Commitment makes you proactive. Convenience leads to regret. Commitment leads to results. And the truth is, you cannot live a committed life and remain lazy at the same time. One of them must die. And if you're serious about your dreams, If you're serious about your growth, if you're serious about the future you want to build, then convenience must die. Excuses must die. Excuses must die. You don't have space for them anymore. Replacing convenience with commitment means your standards rise. It means your expectations rise. It means you demand more from yourself. It means you refuse to settle. It means you stop living based on feeling and start living based on purpose. And once you do that, watch what happens to your life. Watch how your energy shifts. Watch how your mindset sharpens. Watch how your confidence grows. Watch how opportunities start appearing. Watch how you become unstoppable. Convenience is the anchor holding you back. Commitment is the engine pulling you forward. The moment you choose commitment, truly choose it. The moment you stop letting convenience make decisions for you. That's the moment laziness loses its power. That's the moment you gain control of your time, your habits, your actions, and your destiny. That's the moment everything changes. When I tell you to train your mind before you train your body, I'm telling you the absolute truth about why laziness stays alive in your life. Most people think laziness is a physical problem. They think it's about not having enough energy, not having enough strength, not having enough stamina. But listen to me, laziness is not a body problem. Laziness is a mind problem. It starts in the mind, it grows in the mind. It controls the body because the mind never got disciplined enough to lead the body. Your body will follow whatever your mind believes. And if your mind is weak, your body will always quit. Your habits will collapse. Your goals will remain unfinished. Your dreams will stay on the shelf because the body only does what the mind permits. And most minds are trained for comfort, not greatness. Your mind is the battlefield. That's where laziness is born. That's where excuses are created. That's where fear is manufactured. That's where doubt is planted. And if you don't train your mind intentionally, it will automatically default to the easiest, weakest, most convenient option every single time. The human brain is naturally wired to avoid pain, avoid discomfort, avoid struggle, avoid pressure. It wants routine. It wants routine. It wants comfort. It wants the familiar. It wants the path with the least resistance. So if you don't reprogram, if you don't train it, if you don't strengthen it, it will sabotage your entire life without you even realizing what's happening. Look at your life right now. Look at your life. Look at the areas where you struggle with laziness the most. Maybe it's waking up early. Maybe it's working out. Maybe it's studying. Maybe it's building a business. Maybe it's staying consistent. Whatever it is, the struggle isn't happening in your body. It's happening in your mind. It's happening in your mind. Your mind says to stay in bed. Your mind says to do it later. Your mind says to retire. Your mind says you deserve a break. Your mind says not today. And because you haven't trained your mind to override those thoughts, your body simply obeys. You don't need more energy. You need more mental toughness. You don't need more time. You need more mental clarity. You don't need more motivation. You need more mental discipline. Motivation is temporary. Mental discipline is permanent. Motivation comes and goes. Mental discipline stays. Motivation depends on feeling. Mental discipline depends on standing. The mind controls everything. So if you train your mind to stop negotiating, stop delaying, stop panicking, stop doubting, stop surrendering to weakness, your body will follow with power. Training your mind means teaching yourself to act before you feel like acting. It means moving without hesitation. It means doing the hard things, even when your emotions don't agree. It means mastering your thoughts instead of being controlled by them. Most people think thoughts are commands. They think every idea the brain produces is something they must listen to. But the truth is, the brain generates thousands of thoughts every day, and most of them are fear-based, excuse-driven, lazy impulses designed to keep you comfortable. That's why mental training is essential. You must learn to recognize which thoughts serve your future and which ones sabotage it. Mental training begins with awareness. Pay attention to excuses you make daily. Pay attention to patterns your mind follows. Pay attention to your self-talk. Pay attention to what you tell yourself in moments of discomfort. That's where you'll find the lies laziness uses to trap you. You must catch those thoughts and question them. You must challenge them. You must replace them. You must override them with intentional thinking. You must choose thoughts that align with your goals, not your comfort. Mental training also requires repetition. You can't train your mind once and expect permanent discipline. Just like muscles, the mind grows through consistent repetition. The more you practice discipline, the stronger your discipline becomes. The more you practice focus, the sharper your focus becomes. The more you practice resilience, the tougher your resilience becomes. Most people only train their mind in the moment of pressure, and then they wonder why they crumble. You don't build mental toughness in the moment of crisis. You build it long before the crisis appears. Training your mind means embracing discomfort on purpose. The mind becomes stronger when you deliberately put yourself in situations that challenge you. Wake up early, even when you don't feel like it. Push yourself through the last reps, even when your body is tired. Study a little longer, even when you want to quit. Work when you feel unmotivated. That's how you teach the mind that it doesn't get to choose comfort anymore. It must choose growth. It must choose discipline. It must choose consistency regardless of mood. Laziness disappears when the mind becomes stronger than the body's impulses. When the mind decides, we are doing this, and the body obeys without negotiation, you've reached a level most people never experience. That's when discipline becomes natural. That's when consistency becomes automatic. That's when progress becomes predictable. And that's when laziness loses all power. But here's the truth. Training your mind is uncomfortable. It's not fun. It requires facing the parts of yourself you don't like. It requires confronting your fears, your insoftness, your doubt, your excuses. Most people avoid mental training because it forces them to admit they're not as disciplined as they think. But growth doesn't happen without confrontation. You must confront the parts of yourself that hold you back. Training your mind also means controlling your environment. The people you hang around with impact your mental toughness. If you surround yourself with lazy people, you will adopt their habits. If you surround yourself with complainers, you will adopt their mindset. If you surround yourself with people who settle, you will lower your standards. Your environment is either sharpening your mind or weakening it. Protect your mental space. Protect your focus. Protect your energy. If something is draining your mindset, cut it off. If something is weakening your discipline, eliminate. Your mind must be surrounded by things that reinforce strength, not weakness. Another part of mental training is visualization. You must see yourself as the disciplined version you want to become. The mind believes what you repeatedly visualize. If you constantly see yourself failing, quitting, or giving up, your mind will accept that identity. But if you visualize yourself waking up strong, showing up committed, working hard, staying consistent, your mind will start aligning with that image. You become what you repeatedly imagine. Champions visualize victory long before they achieve it. You must do the same. Mental training also involves emotional control. Laziness thrives in emotional instability. When you feel overwhelmed, you procrastinate. When you feel stressed, you avoid tasks. When you feel discouraged, you quit. You must train your mind to stay calm in discomfort, to stay focused under pressure, to stay committed when emotions fluctuate. Emotional discipline is mental discipline. Learn to pause, learn to breathe, learn to recenter your focus. Don't let emotions dictate your actions. Another powerful mental training method is keeping promises to yourself. Every time you say you will do something and you follow through, you build mental strength. You build trust with yourself. You build credibility with yourself. But every time you break a promise, skip a task, delay a goal, quit early, you weaken your mental foundation. You teach your mind that you cannot be trusted, that inconsistency is acceptable, that laziness is allowed. Keeping promises is how you train your mind to respect your goals. Understand something, the strongest people are not the ones with the biggest muscles or the most energy. They are the ones who mastered their mind. They train themselves to push past their feeling. They strengthen their internal dialogue. They build habits that their mind follows automatically. They don't negotiate. They don't hesitate. They don't break promises to themselves. Their mind leads and their body follows. If you want to kill laziness, the mind must become your weapon, not your weakness. It must become your leader, not your follower. It must become disciplined enough to control your actions, direct your decisions, and silence your excuses. Train your mind until it becomes stronger than every impulse that tries to distract you. Train your mind until discipline becomes natural. Train your mind until consistency becomes automatic. Train your mind until laziness has nowhere left to live. When the mind is trained, the body becomes unstoppable. When the mind is disciplined, laziness dies. When the mind is focused, greatness becomes inevitable. That's the truth. That's the power. That's the transformation that happens when you train your mind before you train your body. There comes a moment in every person's life when the weight of responsibility feels heavier than anything they have ever carried. A moment when expectations, pressure, and the fear of letting others down all collide, creating a storm inside their mind. And it's in that exact moment when you feel like you're being crushed from every angle that something powerful begins to take shape. You start to realize that resilience isn't only built in the moments when you win or when things are easy. It's built in the moments when everything feels like too much, when you're overwhelmed, when you want to hide, when you want to quit, when you want to step back and disappear. But instead of running away, you choose to stay. You choose to face it. You choose to stand tall in the middle of the chaos. That decision, that single choice, begins to build a version of you that you didn't even know existed. You grow when you stay in the uncomfortable spaces. You grow when you stop asking for an easier life and instead ask for the strength to handle the one you have. Because life doesn't get easier, the storms don't get gentler, the challenges don't get lighter. You just get stronger. You grow into someone who can carry things that used to break you. You evolve into someone who doesn't panic every time something goes wrong. You transform into someone who doesn't fall apart the moment pressure hits. Resilience develops when you refuse to fold under the weight of life, even when your knees are shaking. But the truth is, resilience doesn't show up in the loud moments. It reveals itself in the quiet decisions, the ones no one sees. When you choose discipline over comfort, when you choose progress over excuses, when you choose to show up even though no one is watching. Every time you move forward instead of retreating, you add a layer of strength. And these layers accumulate quietly, consistently, building a foundation inside you that becomes almost unshakable. That's the part people don't understand. They see the strength, but not the struggle. They see the confidence, but not the fear that had to be conquered. They see the victories, but not the battles you fought alone. They see the resilience, but not the moments when you had to drag yourself forward with everything inside you screaming to stop. And that's why you must never compare your behind-the-scenes struggle to someone else's highlight reel. You don't know what they had to overcome to get there, and they don't know the wars you're fighting right now. The only thing that matters is that you don't stop, because stopping is the only thing that actually breaks you. Failure doesn't break you. Failure doesn't break you. Loss doesn't break you. Rejection doesn't break you. Pain doesn't break you. Quitting breaks you. There are days when your motivation will be gone. Days when you wake up exhausted, mentally drained, spiritually empty. Days when you don't feel inspired, when every step feels heavy. But resilience means you move anyway. You don't wait for the perfect move. You don't wait for the perfect condition. You stop waiting for motivation like it's something you're owed. You learn to move without it. You learn to work without it. You learn to work without it. You learn to keep going even when your heart feels tired. Because resilience is built in repetition. It's built in doing what needs to be done over and over and over again until it becomes part of who you are. And eventually discipline becomes the engine that carries you when motivation disappears. Some people live their whole lives avoiding struggle because they think avoiding struggle will make their life easier. But that's the biggest trap. Struggle is where strength is born. Pressure is where diamonds form. Resistance is where muscles grow. Adversity is where character is shaped. Every obstacle carries a gift, but most people walk away before they ever receive it. They walk away because it's too uncomfortable, too painful, too uncertain. But resilience means staying long enough to see the transformation. It means staying long enough to unlearn old patterns, break bad habits, build new mindsets, and rise above the limitations you placed on yourself. Resilience is choosing long-term strength over short-term comfort every single time. You start to understand that setbacks are not life attacking you. They are invitations to grow beyond anything you once believed you were capable of. They force you to confront your weaknesses. They expose the parts of your life you ignored. They push you to adapt, evolve, improve. And if you respond with resilience instead of resignation, you come out wiser, sharper, and more powerful than before. You stop seeing challenges as punishment and start seeing them as preparation. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? That shift in perspective alone can change your entire life. And when you finally reach the other side of a challenge, when you stand there with the scars to prove what you survived, you gain a confidence that no one can take away from you. Not because everything is perfect now, but because you know you can handle it when it's not. You faced storms before, and you're still standing. That knowledge becomes power. It becomes certainty. It becomes fuel. You become the kind of person who walks into difficult situations not with fear, but with quiet strength. Not with panic, but with purpose. Not with doubt, but with determination. You become someone who doesn't just endure the storm, you learn to navigate it. Resilience also teaches you patience. It teaches you that growth takes time. Healing takes time. Success takes time. Nothing meaningful happens instantly, and nothing worth having comes without cause. But when you become resilient, you stop trying to rush the process. You stop getting frustrated when results don't show up immediately. You learn to trust the work you're putting in, trust the direction you're moving, trust the path you're on. You start measuring progress by who you are becoming, not just by what you achieve. You stop searching for shortcuts. You stop settling for easy wins. You start embracing the grind, the repetition, the discipline that creates lasting change. You also learn that resilience is not about pretending to be strong all the time. It is not about hiding your pain or acting like nothing affects you. Real resilience is honesty. It's acknowledging the struggle. It's admitting when things hurt. It's facing your fears instead of suppressing them. It's staying open-hearted even after you've been disappointed. It's allowing yourself to feel and still choosing to move forward. That kind of resilience is rare. That kind of resilience is powerful. That kind of resilience builds leaders, visionaries, warriors, and world changers. And eventually, resilience becomes part of your identity. It becomes something you carry with you into every area of your life. Your relationships, your goals, your faith, your work, your dreams. You develop a mindset that refuses to give up. You become someone who rises every time they fall. Someone who adapts every time life shifts. Someone who fights for their purpose even when the odds are against them. Someone who refuses to let circumstances define them. And the more life tests you, the more you discover your own capacity to overcome. The truth is, you are capable of far more than you think. You have strength inside you that has not yet been activated. You have potential that has not yet been tapped into. You have power that's not yet been expressed. But you will only discover it through resilience, through staying in the fight when you feel like running away, through holding on when you want to let go, through choosing faith when doubt whispers in your ear, through choosing effort when your body and mind beg for rest. That is how greatness is created. That is how character is forged. That is how legends rise. You don't need life to be easier. You need to be stronger. And you are becoming stronger every time you refuse to break, every time you take another step, every time you push through the discomfort. You're not just surviving the storm. You're learning to walk through it with courage, with intention, with purpose. And one day when you look back on everything you overcame, you'll realize that the struggle didn't weaken you. It shaped you. It carved out the best version of you. It turned you into someone unstoppable. There comes a time when you have to stop relying on what you used to be and start becoming who you were meant to be. There's a point in life where old excuses lose their power, where old habits can't be defended anymore, where old fears can't be allowed to guide your decisions. In that moment, the only way forward is to transform from the inside out. Not a small change, not a temporary burst of motivation, not a one-week improvement. Real transformation, the kind that requires discipline, sacrifice, and a level of honesty with yourself that most people spend their whole lives avoiding. Because to truly rise, you have to confront who you are right now. You have to face the truth about what's holding you back. The patterns, the mindset, the comfort zones, the negative conversations you have with yourself, the standards you've accepted, and the limitations you've allowed. Until you confront these things, you will stay stuck in the same cycles, no matter how badly you want a new outcome. Transformation begins with ownership. It begins when you stop pointing fingers outward and start looking inward. When you say, if I want a different life, I need to become a different person. That's a powerful place to stand because it means you're no longer waiting on someone else to save you, to motivate you, to choose you, to support you, to understand you. It means you're done blaming circumstances, luck, opportunities, or the people around you. You become the driver instead of the passenger. And with that ownership comes the realization that your life is shaped far more by your decisions than your conditions. You understand that every day you are either building the person you want to become or strengthening the person you say you want to leave behind. The transformation process is messy, it's uncomfortable, it's frustrating. It requires letting go of things you've held on to for years, sometimes even decades. Old beliefs, old identities, old wounds, old doubts. You start tearing down the version of yourself that was built on fear, insecurity, and survival. And in the beginning, that feels like losing. It feels like you're falling apart. But in truth, you're not falling apart. You're breaking open. You're making space for the version of you that is stronger, wiser, more resilient, more disciplined, more aligned with your purpose. No real transformation happens without a breakdown. The old version of you must die for the new one to be born. You also learn that transformation cannot happen in a comfort zone. Nothing grows there. Nothing evolves there. Nothing evolves there. Nothing changes there. It is the easiest place to stay and the most dangerous place to remain. The comfort zone is where dreams go to fade. It's where potential becomes regret. It's where you settle for good enough when greatness is calling your name. To transform, you have to step out of that zone. Not once, not occasionally, but consistently. You have to do the things you've been avoiding. You have to confront the fears you've been suppressing. You have to embrace uncertainty. You have to stretch yourself beyond your limits. Every time you do, a new part of you comes alive. Every time you stretch, you discover strength you didn't know you had. Every time you push yourself, you expand your capacity. Transformation demands consistency. Not the kind of consistency that depends on mood or convenience, but the kind that becomes part of your identity. You stop showing up only when you feel good and start showing up because it's who you are now. You stop quitting when things get hard and start pushing through because you've made a decision about the person you are becoming. That level of consistency builds momentum, and once you have momentum, change becomes inevitable. You reach a point where turning back isn't even an option anymore because you've outgrown the old version of you so completely that returning to it feels like suffocation. You realize that transformation is not just about reaching a goal. It's about raising your standards. You stop accepting less from yourself. You stop tolerating habits that drain your potential. You stop allowing people to pull you downward. You stop giving in to distractions. You stop settling for average effort. You raise the bar on everything. Your mindset, your discipline, your environment, your expectation. And when your standards rise, your life rises with them. You attract opportunities that match the new version of you. You develop confidence that grows from keeping promises to yourself. You build trust in your own abilities. You stop doubting whether you can and start knowing that you will. During this process, you also discover that transformation requires solitude. There are seasons when you have to step away from noise, from opinions, from drama, from environments that drain your energy. Not because you're better than anyone, but because you're building something sacred. You're rebuilding yourself. You're reprogramming your mind. You're rewiring your habits. And that work cannot be done in chaos. You need time alone to reflect, to heal, to think, to learn, to grow. You need time to sit with your thoughts instead of escaping them. You need time to break emotional patterns that have been running your life. Transformation is personal, it's internal, it's invisible at first. That's why many people misunderstand it or get discouraged. They expect immediate results, visible progress, external validation. But transformation doesn't begin from the outside. It starts deep within. Over time, you start to notice small shifts. You respond differently to stress. You make decisions based on purpose rather than pressure. You stop engaging in negativity. You stop blaming people who hurt you and stop understanding the lessons. You stop holding on to anger. You stop wasting time. You stop allowing fear to make choices for you. These shifts are subtle, but they are powerful indicators that you are becoming a new version of yourself. And eventually, these small shifts compound. You wake up one day and realize you no longer think the way you used to think. You no longer react the way you used to react. You no longer settle for the things you used to accept. The old you feels distant, like a memory rather than a reality. That's when you know the transformation is real. But you also learn that transformation is not a one-time event. It is a lifelong process. You don't transform once and remain that version forever. You evolve again and again as life challenges you in new ways. Every new level requires a new version of you. Every breakthrough requires a mindset shift. Every opportunity requires greater responsibility. Transformation is ongoing, and that's why resilience becomes essential. You need the strength to keep growing, the courage to keep changing, the humility to keep learning, and the awareness to recognize when old patterns are trying to return. Because they will. The old version of you doesn't leave quietly. It tries to pull you back with doubt, fear, laziness, distraction, and temptation. You must be strong enough to silence those voices. You must be committed enough to protect the new identity you're building. Transformation also teaches you that not everyone will understand your journey. Some people will feel threatened by your growth. Some will try to pull you back into old habits. Some will accuse you of changing like it's a bad thing. But you must remember that you are not responsible for making others comfortable with your growth. You are responsible for becoming the best version of yourself. If your growth makes others uncomfortable, that is their journey to address, not yours. You cannot shrink yourself to fit into places you've outgrown. You cannot dim your light to make others feel better. You cannot stay the same for the sake of people who refuse to grow. Transformation requires courage. The courage to let people go, to let old identities die, to let new doors open. It requires trusting that the right people will support your evolution, not fear it. You will also learn that transformation is not just about strength. It is about healing. You must heal the wounds that shape your fears. You must heal from the moments that made you doubt your worth. You must heal from the words that tore you down. You must heal from the past you never talked about. Without healing, transformation becomes temporary. You cannot build a new life on top of old pain. You have to go back and understand, release it, forgive it, and rise above it. Healing is not weakness. Healing is courage. Healing is wisdom. Healing is strength disguised as softness. And once you heal, the future becomes clear. Your purpose becomes louder. Your self-worth becomes unshakable. Transformation is also about alignment. You begin aligning your actions with your goals, your habits with your vision, your environment with your dreams, your daily choices with the life you say you want. You stop living in contradiction. You stop hoping for greatness while practicing mediocrity. You stop desiring success while committing to comfort. Alignment turns transformation into reality. It ensures that who you are becoming is connected to where you are going. And slowly, you start to build a life that reflects the work you've done. You find clarity where there used to be confusion. You find strength where there used to be fear. You find peace where there used to be chaos. You find purpose where there used to be wandering. You find confidence where there used to be doubt. You discover that the person you were meant to be was always inside you. The world just hadn't seen them yet. That is the power of transformation. The power to rise, to evolve, to grow, to rebuild, to reinvent, to step into the greatness you were created for. And once you become that version of yourself, there's no going back. There's only forward. There's a moment in your life where you have to decide what voice you are going to listen to. Every single day, there are two voices fighting inside you, the voice of your goals and the voice of your excuses. One pushes you forward, one pulls you backward. One empowers you, one weakens you. One demands action, one provides reasons to delay it. And the truth is, whichever voice you allow to be louder becomes the one that shapes your life. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they allow their excuses to become louder than their goals. They allow fear to speak louder than desire. They allow comfort to speak louder than discipline. They allow doubt to speak louder than potential. And when excuses speak louder, success becomes impossible. You have to make your goals so loud that nothing can drown them out. Not fear, not laziness, not distraction, not pressure, not failure, not other people's opinions. Your goals must become the voice that guides your decision, the force that shapes your action, the energy that wakes you up in the morning and keeps you moving even on the days when you don't feel like moving. Goals are not just something you write down on paper. They are promises you make to yourself. They are commitments written in the language of your future. And the louder your goals speak, the clearer your direction becomes. There's a reason why so many people start strong and quit early. Their goals whisper, but their excuses scream. Their dreams are quiet, but their fears are loud. They want success, but they allow distractions to steal their focus. They talk about change, but they give attention to old habits. They desire progress, but they listen to every voice except the one inside them that says, you were made for more. You cannot live an extraordinary life by listening to ordinary excuses. You cannot reach a high level by following low-level thinking. If your goals don't control your mind, your excuses will. When your goals are loud, they begin to influence everything you do. They shape how you spend your time, who you spend it with, how you wake up, how you work, how you think, how you respond to setbacks. Loud goals don't allow you to sleep in when you have work to do. Loud goals don't allow you to waste time scrolling for hours. Loud goals don't allow you to surround yourself with people who drain your energy. Loud goals don't allow you to sabotage your own progress. Loud goals demand responsibility. They demand consistency. They demand that you show up even when it's hard. Loud goals turn discipline from punishment into purpose. Suddenly you're not working out because you hate your body. You're working out because your goal demands that version of you. You're not studying because someone told you to. You're studying because your future requires it. You're not grinding because you enjoy the grind. You're grinding because greatness is calling your name, and you refuse to ignore that call. Excuses, however, are experts at disguising themselves as logic. They come wrapped in comfort and coated in justification. They tell you you deserve to rest, even when you've done nothing worth resting from. They tell you you'll start tomorrow, knowing that tomorrow becomes next week, next month, next year, or never. They tell you it's too hard, when the truth is you simply haven't committed fully. They tell you it's impossible, even though people with fewer resources and more obstacles have done it. Excuses convince you that you're doing your best when in reality you're settling. They trick you into thinking you have time, not realizing that the only guarantee you have is the moment you're in right now. If you want to kill laziness, if you want to destroy this enemy that's stolen so many dreams and wasted so many lives, then you must make your goals the loudest voice in your head. Not for a day, not for a week, but for the rest of your life. You have to remind yourself what you're fighting for every single day. Why do you want this? Who are you doing it for? What will your life look like when you achieve it? What will it cost you if you don't? When your reasons are strong, your goals become loud. And when your goals become loud, the excuses start. They lose power, they lose influence, they lose control over your decision. This is why clarity is important. You need to be crystal clear about what you want. Too many people say, I want success, but they don't define what success means for them. They say, I want to be better, but they don't specify what a better looks like. They say, I want to change, but they don't outline how they will change. You cannot make something loud in your life if you haven't defined it clearly. The more detailed your goal, the louder it becomes. The louder it becomes. When you know exactly what you want, why you want it, and what it will take to get it, your mind becomes laser focused. Every decision becomes easier because you know what aligns with your goal and what doesn't. One of the most powerful ways to make your goals louder is repetition. You must repeat your goals to yourself until they become part of your identity. Write them down every morning. Speak them out loud. Visualize them in detail. Surround yourself with reminders. Put them on your wall, your phone lock screen, your notebook, your mirror. Let your goals become so present in your environment that you cannot escape them. That's how you reprogram your mind. That's how you drown out the excuses. The mind believes what it sees repeatedly. Show it your goals over and over until they become natural to you. Until they become the default instead of the exception. Another crucial step is changing your environment. Your goals might be loud, but if you're surrounded by excuses from other people, it will weaken your ability to stay committed. If you hang around people who are unmotivated, undisciplined, unfocused, and unwilling to grow, their excuses will become yours. You may not notice it at first, but slowly their habits seep into your mindset. Their laziness becomes normal to you. Their complaining becomes acceptable. Their lack of ambition becomes your standard. You can now allow your environment to lower the volume of your goals. Protect your energy. Protect your focus. Protect your vision. Surround yourself with people whose goals are loud too. People who work, people who try, people who get up after failing, people who hold themselves accountable, people who want more from life, people whose actions inspire you to level up. You don't need cheerleaders, you need teammates. People who aren't afraid to push you and challenge you because they want to see you win. But even with the right environment, even with clarity, even with reminders, you must also master the discipline to act. Loud goals without action are just noise. You can talk about your dreams all day long, but if you don't take steps toward them, they remain dreams. Action is what makes your goals real. Action is what separates the committed from the comfortable. Action is what turns a vision into a result. And the more actions you take, the louder your goals become. Every small win reinforces your belief. Every bit of progress strengthens your motivation. Every completed task increases your confidence. Action creates momentum, and momentum creates transformation. There will be days when excuses feel stronger than usual. Days where you're tired. Days where you're discouraged. Days where you doubt yourself. Days where everything seems difficult. On those days, you must remind yourself why you started. You must remind yourself of the pain of staying the same. You must remind yourself of the people counting on you. You must remind yourself that greatness is built on the days when you don't feel like showing up. Anybody can work hard when they're excited. Champions work hard when they're exhausted. Anybody can be disciplined when life is easy. Warriors remain disciplined when life is heavy. Anybody can pursue their goals when everything is comfortable. Legends pursue their goals when everything is uncomfortable. That's what separates winners from everyone else. When your goals are loud, you stop needing motivation. You start operating from purpose. Motivation fades. Purpose endures. Motivation comes and goes. Purpose stays with you every single day. When you're driven by purpose, excuses don't stand a chance. Laziness doesn't stand a chance. Fear doesn't stand a chance. You move with intention, with clarity, with strength. You wake up knowing what needs to be done, and you do it whether you feel like it or not. That's how you create a new identity. That's how you build discipline. And that's how you become unstoppable. Eventually, there comes a moment where your goals are so loud that your excuses become silent. You don't entertain them anymore. You don't listen to them. You don't negotiate with them. You don't accept them. You recognize them immediately and you reject them instantly. You become the kind of person who doesn't explain why something can't be done. You explain how you're going to get it done. That's the shift. That's the transformation. That's the moment you take control of your life. When your goals are louder than your excuses, you begin walking in a different kind of power. A power rooted in clarity, discipline, and purpose. A power that pushes you through obstacles. A power that lifts you above limitations. A power that gives you the courage to pursue the life you were created for. And once you reach that level, laziness dies. Excuses die. Fear dies. Doubt dies. Because a person driven by loud goals is a person who cannot be stopped. There comes a point where you must accept that success will never come to those who sit around waiting for the perfect moment. There is no perfect moment. There is no magical alignment of circumstance. There is no flawless plan where everything goes exactly as you expect. Waiting has fooled more people than failure ever has. Waiting has stolen more dreams than fear, excuses, or laziness combined. Waiting convinces you that you need more time, that you need to feel ready, that you need conditions to be ideal. But the truth is simple. The longer you wait, your desire becomes. The longer you wait, the more your confidence fades. The longer you wait, the more your dreams drift away from you. Action is the only cure for waiting, and urgency is the only mindset that kills laziness before laziness kills your future. Most people don't fail due to lack of talent. They fail because they move too slowly, they hesitate, they overthink, they procrastinate, they doubt themselves. They keep telling themselves, one day, not realizing that every one day becomes a no day. You have to develop urgency, not panic, not stress, but urgency. A fire in your spirit, a conviction that your goals require movement now, not later. You must understand that time is not your enemy, but it is not your friend either. Time is neutral. It gives to those who act and takes from those who wait. If you don't use it, you lose it. Urgency is a mindset that says, I will not delay my own destiny. It's a mindset that refuses to waste days because each day is a piece of your life you never get back. When you live with urgency, you stop treating your goals like hobbies and start treating them like responsibilities. You stop handling your dreams casually and start handling them with seriousness. You stop waiting for inspiration and start moving because you understand that action creates inspiration. You stop looking for motivation and start building discipline. Urgency makes you consistent. Urgency makes you focused. Urgency makes you intentional. Urgency makes you dangerous in the best way. Growing urgency means recognizing the cost of inaction. Too many people only ask themselves what will happen if they try. Not enough people ask themselves what will happen if they don't. What will your life look like if you stay the same? What will happen to your health if you keep delaying change? What will happen to your finances if you keep procrastinating on progress? What will happen to your relationships if you don't show up fully? What will happen to your dreams if you don't move now? You must confront the reality that inaction has consequences. Comfort has consequences. Comfort has consequences. Laziness has consequences. And those consequences often show up quietly at first. Missed opportunities, slow decline, loss of momentum, decreased confidence, loss of passion. Missing your potential doesn't feel painful in the moment. It feels comfortable. The pain comes later in the form of regret. Urgency protects you from regret. It forces you to move. It demands that you show up. It pushes you out of bed when you're tired. It pushes you into growth when you feel afraid. It pushes you out of excuses when you're tempted to quit. Urgency says, if not now, when? It says your future self is watching. It says you cannot keep living at a level below your capabilities. Urgency holds you accountable when laziness tries to bargain with you. Urgency keeps you committed when doubt tries to distract you. Urgency makes you stronger than your excuses. When you grow urgency, you also gain a new understanding of opportunity. Opportunities do not wait. They do not pause. They do not hold their place for you while you debate whether you feel motivated. Opportunities come to those who are prepared, those who are moving, those who are paying attention, those who refuse to wait for someone else to push them. When you live with urgency, you start to see opportunities everywhere because your eyes are open, your mind is active, and your actions are aligned with your goals. You're not reacting to life, you're engaging with it. And when you engage with life, life starts opening doors for you. But urgency does not mean rushing blindly. It means moving with purpose. It means making daily decisions that align with your long-term vision. It means eliminating delays that serve no purpose. It means cutting out distractions that steal your time. It means creating momentum through consistent action. Urgency is not chaos. Urgency is clarity in motion. You know who you want to be, and you move in that direction every single day. One of the greatest advantages of urgency is that it destroys overthinking. Overthinking is the cousin of laziness. It convinces you that thinking will lead to progress, when in reality, action is what leads to progress. You can think about your dream for 10 years and still end up in the same place. People overthink because they want guarantees before they move. They want certainty before they act. But the truth is, certainty is earned through action, not thought. You learn by doing. You improve by doing. You improve by doing. Urgency pushes you to act before doubt steals your courage. It pushes you to start before your mind convinces you not to. It pushes you to trust your ability to figure things out along the way. With urgency, you stop seeking perfection and start pursuing progress. Another powerful effect of urgency is that it increases your value. People who move quickly, decisively, consistently, they get noticed, they get respected. They get opportunities. They get results faster. They learn faster. They adapt quicker. They fail forward. They iterate. They grow in every field. Business, fitness, education, leadership, creativity. Those who move with urgency always stand out. Not because they are the most talented, but because they treat time differently than everyone else. They understand that every second counts. They understand that progress compounds. They understand that momentum matters. Success loves speed. Success loves people who don't wait. Success loves people who act now. Urgency also protects your identity. Without urgency, laziness slowly takes your identity away from you. You begin to accept less from yourself. You begin to tolerate habits that contradict your goals. You begin to slip into mediocrity disguised as a taking it easy. But urgency keeps your identity sharp. It reminds you of your standards. It reminds you of your potential. It reminds you of your responsibility to yourself. It reminds you that average effort is not acceptable for someone who desires an extraordinary life. Urgency makes you look in the mirror and say, I owe myself more than this. You cannot develop urgency if you're distracted. You cannot move fast if your mind is cluttered. You must remove the things that drain your time and your attention. Not everything is worth entertaining. Not every person deserves access to you. Not every situation needs your reaction. You must learn to say no. No to wasting hours online. No to conversations that go nowhere. No to commitments that don't align with your goals. No to environments that encourage laziness. No to relationships that drain your ambition. Urgency requires focus, requires boundaries. When you develop boundary, you create space for growth. You create space for discipline. You create space for movement. Urgency also requires emotional strength. Weak emotions lead to slow actions. Strong emotions lead to decisive actions. You must learn to manage frustration, boredom, fear, and uncertainty. You must learn to move even when emotions try to hold you back. Urgency says, I don't wait until I feel ready. I act until I feel ready. It reverses the process. Instead of waiting for confidence to arrive before taking action, you take action until confidence is built. Instead of waiting for inspiration before working, you work until inspiration comes. That is the power of urgency. It teaches you that feelings follow actions, not the other way around. When you adopt urgency, you begin to live differently. You stop wasting time on blame. You stop waiting for permission. You stop wishing for easier conditions. Instead, you start doing, you start building, you stop repeating actions that lead to success. You start controlling your habits instead of letting them control you. You start becoming the person people look up. Not because of what you say, but because of how you live. Urgency also increases your resilience. When you move quickly and consistently, you expose yourself to challenges sooner. You gain experience faster. You learn your strengths and your weaknesses. You make mistakes that eventually turn into mastery. Every time you overcome something, your confidence grows. You become tougher. You become more adaptable. You become more persistent. Urgency builds resilience by putting you in motion, and motion reveals your strength. Over time, urgency becomes part of your identity. You no longer delay. You no longer hesitate. You no longer waste days. You no longer negotiate with laziness. You become a person who moves, a person who acts, a person who follows through, a person who honors their goals, a person who creates opportunities instead of waiting for them. A person who commands respect through consistency. Urgency becomes the heartbeat of your discipline. And once urgency becomes part of your identity, laziness dies. It has no place in your life anymore. It cannot coexist with a person who understands the value of time. It cannot survive in the mind of someone who moves with purpose. It cannot influence someone who has decided that their future deserves action, not excuses. Urgency is freedom. Urgency is power. Urgency is control. Urgency is self-respect. When you live with urgency, you live with intention. You live with intention. You live with clarity. You live with strength. You live with momentum. You live with purpose. And that is how you transform your life. When you finally understand the truth that rewards come after execution, not before, something shifts inside you. You stop treating life like a charity and start treating it like a mission. You stop expecting results for free and start earning every inch of progress with sweat, discipline, and relentless follow through. The problem with so many people today is that they flip the formula. They want the victory before they've gone to war. They want the rest before the work. They want the celebration before the grind. They keep rewarding themselves for intentions while never holding themselves accountable for action. And listen to me carefully. Intentions don't produce results. Execution does. Dreams don't move without effort. Plans don't matter without action. Potential doesn't turn into greatness until you work for it. You cannot train your mind for discipline if you keep feeding it rewards for doing nothing. Every time you relax without completing the task, every time you celebrate without putting in the grind, every time you say, I tried, instead of I finished, You teach your mind that comfort is more important than commitment. And when your mind starts believing that laziness becomes your default mode, that's why you have to reverse the pattern. Start making your brain understand that pleasure comes after production. After production, after consistency, that rewards come after results. You have to build a system inside yourself where finishing a task is the price of admission to feeling good. When you begin to reward yourself after execution, something powerful happens. Your brain starts associating hard work with satisfaction. It starts tying the feeling of accomplishment to the act of completing tasks. Suddenly, finishing becomes addictive. Suddenly, the grind becomes meaningful. Suddenly, you don't need motivation. The work itself becomes the motivation. Because every completed task gives you a hit of momentum, a burst of energy, a sense of progress. And momentum is the greatest enemy of laziness. When you have momentum, laziness can't catch you. It can't slow you down. It can't convince you to stop. But when you reward yourself before you've earned it, you destroy momentum before it even starts. You sabotage your own psychology. You break the connection between effort and reward. You teach yourself to value pleasure without production. And that mental pattern will ruin you. That mental pattern is what keeps people broke, stuck, unproductive, and constantly frustrated with their lives. You can't keep giving yourself permission to feel good when you haven't done anything worth feeling good, anything worth about. You can't keep giving yourself breaks you haven't earned. Life will not reward you for what you are meant to do. It will only reward you for what you execute. You must become the kind of person who says, I don't touch my phone until the work is done. I don't relax until the checklist is complete. I don't scroll. I don't chill. I don't reward myself until I have executed with excellence. Because that level of self-respect creates discipline. That level of structure creates transformation. Listen to me. People with high standards don't reward themselves for effort. They reward themselves for results. They don't say, I tried. They say, I completed. They don't validate mediocrity. They validate mastery. They don't celebrate intentions. They celebrate impact. The truth is, you cannot build a powerful life on the foundation of weak habits. You cannot become the person you want to be if you constantly excuse yourself from the work. You cannot rise to greatness if you keep choosing comfort over commitment. That's why you have to train your mind like an athlete. Athletes don't celebrate until the win is secured. Soldiers don't relax until the mission is completed. Champions don't reward themselves for showing up. They reward themselves for finishing strong. You must treat your daily tasks the same way. And I'm not telling you to deny yourself pleasure. I'm telling you to earn pleasure. Pleasure without action turns into guilt. Pleasure after action turns into pride. Pleasure before the grind wastes time. Pleasure after the grind fuels growth. There is a difference, and the difference is everything. When you build a lifestyle where the reward comes after the work, you develop a deep sense of control. You stop feeling like life is happening to you and start feeling like you are shaping your life through your choices. This shift in mindset transforms your energy. When you know you only get to relax after finishing what matters, your focus sharpens. Procrastination loses its grip because you understand that delaying the work means delaying the reward. Distractions lose their appeal because you realize they cost you the satisfaction of completion. Your time begins to matter. Your actions begin to matter. Your standards begin to rise. You begin to operate like someone who respects themselves. And listen, the world treats you the way you treat yourself. If you treat yourself like your time is cheap, the world will too. If you treat yourself like your discipline doesn't matter, your results will reflect that. If you treat yourself like comfort is more important than consistency, you'll never break out of mediocrity. But when you start rewarding yourself only after execution, you send a message to your subconscious that says, oh, my work matters. My effort matters. My goals matter. My future matters. And that message begins to shape your identity. You begin to feel like someone capable of achieving big things. You begin to act like someone who finishes what they start. You begin to carry yourself with a sense of responsibility and strength. You begin to see yourself as a disciplined person, not a lazy one. And when your identity shifts, your habits shift. When your habits shift, your results shift. When your results shift, your life shifts. Every single day, you should aim to earn your rest, earn your break, earn your relaxation, earn your celebration. When you know you've executed, rest feels sweeter. When you know you pushed yourself, rewards feel richer. When you know you completed your tasks, sleep feels deeper. And when you wake up the next morning, you feel powerful because you went to bed with integrity. You didn't take shortcuts. You didn't cheat yourself. You didn't lie to yourself. You earned it. This mindset is how you kill laziness at the root. Laziness survives on premature reward. Laziness feeds on unearned comfort. Laziness grows when you give it space, time, and excuses. But laziness dies when execution becomes your priority and reward becomes the consequence of discipline. Make a promise to yourself. Nothing pleasurable happens before work is complete. No scrolling, no chilling, no entertainment, no comfort until the mission is done. Make finishing the requirement for feeling good. Make execution the price for enjoyment. Make productivity the gateway to pleasure. And if you stick to this mindset long enough, you won't even recognize the old you. The one who used to delay, avoid, and procrastinate. Because now you'll be someone who moves differently. Someone who acts differently. Someone who holds themselves to a higher standard. Someone who is unstoppable because discipline has become the backbone of their identity. That's how champions are built. That's how greatness is created. That's how laziness is killed. Not with motivation, not with inspiration, but with the simple rule that reward comes only after execution. And when you master that rule, everything in your life begins to rise. Your productivity rises, your confidence rises, your results rise, your self-respect rises. Because you trained your mind to understand one powerful truth. You don't deserve the reward until you do the work. Listen to me. Everything we talked about leads to this moment right here. The moment where you decide who you're going to be from this day forward. You've heard every truth, every challenge, every push that was meant to wake you up, shake you up, and force you to confront the version of yourself that you've allowed laziness to control. But the message, the whole message, means nothing if you don't act on it. You can sit here, you can listen, you can nod your head, you can get emotional, you can feel inspired, but none of that matters if you walk out and let laziness grab the wheel again. This is the moment where you draw the line. This is the moment where you tell laziness, oh, time is up. Because killing laziness is not just about working harder. It's about reclaiming your life. It's about taking back the time you wasted, the opportunity you let slip, the dreams you put on hold, the potential you left sitting in the dark. It's about refusing to live another day, becoming a prisoner to habits that shrink your spirit and weaken your future. It's about declaring that you will no longer abandon yourself when it's time to show up. It's about making a choice. Now you will move with purpose, live with urgency, and work with the kind of discipline that commands results. Laziness has been stealing from you. It has stolen mornings you could have used to get ahead. It has stolen nights you wasted convincing yourself you'd start tomorrow. It has stolen energy, ambition, and confidence. It has stolen chances to grow, moments to improve, windows of opportunity that don't reopen. And the truth is, laziness never stops taking unless you stop giving. You have to stop feeding it your time. You have to stop feeding it your excuses. You have to stop feeding it your future. From today on, you have a responsibility to the version of you that's buried under layers of hesitation. That version of you is hungry. That version of you is powerful. That version of you is disciplined, focused, consistent, unstoppable. But it can't breathe because laziness keeps suffocating it. Your job now is to bring that version of yourself back to life. You do that by choosing action over comfort. You do that by choosing discipline over distraction. You do that by choosing progress over procrastination. Every single day you get another chance. A chance to kill the old habits, a chance to rise with purpose, a chance to take control of your life. This is not about perfection. This is about commitment. You will slip, you will feel tired. You will have days where the old habits try to return. But listen to me, it's not about never falling. It's about refusing to stay down. It's about refusing to let laziness make decisions for you. It's about waking up every day ready to fight for your future. You have to be stronger than the excuses. You have to be louder than the fear. You have to be more committed than the comfort pulling at you. And here's the truth. Nobody can kill laziness for you. Not your parents, not your friends, not a coach, not a mentor, not even a motivational message. You have to do that work. You have to choose that fight. You have to be the one who looks laziness in the face and says, no more. The battle is personal and the victory is personal. But the moment you win that victory, everything in your life changes. Your confidence changes. Your energy changes. Your habits change. Your results change. Your identity changes. Because when you kill laziness, you don't just gain productivity. You gain power. You gain control. You gain momentum. You gain the ability to trust yourself again. You gain the belief that you can do what you say you'll do. That belief alone is life-changing. When you trust yourself, you don't fear goals anymore. You don't fear challenges. You don't fear the grind. You start chasing things you once thought were out of reach. You start moving like someone who expects greatness from themselves, not someone who hopes for it but never acts on it. You want to know what freedom truly feels like. It feels like waking up without regret. It feels like going to bed knowing you gave everything. It feels like looking at your progress and knowing you earned it. It feels like finally breaking away from the chains of laziness that held you down for years. Freedom is not found in doing less. Freedom is found in doing what matters. Freedom is found in discipline. Freedom is found in choosing the hard things today so you can live the life you want tomorrow. You owe it to your future self to show up differently from now on. You owe it to your family, your dreams, your potential. You owe it to the younger version of you who believe in something big. You owe it to the older version of you who will look back one day and either say, I'm proud or I regret. You get to choose which one it will be. But that choice starts now. Not next week. Not next month. Not when you feel motivated. Right now. You don't need more time. You need more discipline. You don't need more motivation. You need more consistency. You don't need perfect conditions. You need to start where you are. Laziness will always wait for the perfect moment. Discipline creates the moment. You have to stop waiting and stop delaying. You have to stop delaying and start deciding. You have to stop surviving and stop building. Hear me, greatness isn't magical. Success isn't accidental. Achievement isn't mysterious. All of it comes down to what you choose to do daily. Every day you either feed laziness or you feed discipline. Every day you either move forward or you fall behind. Every day you either make excuses or you make progress. That's the formula. That's the truth. And once you accept it, once you live by it, your life will change in ways you can't even imagine right now. You have everything you need to rise. You have the strength, the mind, the potential, the fire. You just have to stop giving laziness the power to dim that fire. You have to stop surrendering to the weaker version of you. You have to stop living in patterns that don't match your purpose. You are not here to waste your life. You are not here to stay stuck. You are here to grow, to build, to rise, to fulfill something bigger than comfort. So this is it. Your choice, your turning point. If you want a different life, you have to live differently. If you want better results, you have to act better. If you want to become unstoppable, you have to stop stopping. Decide right now that you will outwork your old habits. Decide right now that you will remain consistent even when you don't feel like it. Decide right now that laziness no longer gets to call the shots. From this moment on, you are stepping into a new identity, a disciplined identity, a committed identity, a relentless identity. You are choosing to show up with purpose, focus, and strength. And every day you hold that line. Every day you take action. Every day you finish what you start. Laziness becomes weaker, smaller, quieter, until one day you wake up and realize it no longer has a place in your life. This is your time. This is your shift. This is your breakthrough. Kill laziness and you unlock everything waiting for you on the other side of discipline. You want a better life? Earn it. You want a stronger mind? Build it. You want greatness? Work for it. The power is already in you. Now it's time to use it.